We're recording. Welcome back to the Her Life BLOGCAST. Oh my God, I'm so excited to introduce the guest of the week, the guest of the next 2 weeks, Mr. Kevin Verga. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome back. How does it
you.
feel? I feel like you're coming home a little bit. I really do.
I feel the same way. We had our episode right at the cusp of the beginning of quarantine.
Genuinely, truly. It was my last day at Fordham. You sat on my couch. That was my last memory in my apartment. And honestly, okay, I was going to say that's exactly how, I didn't want to end it on like then, but I'm glad that it was you and me, Kevin.
Yeah.
You know.
I wouldn't have not asked for anything else. Ended in March. And then it's so funny to like hear us talk about it. Like, how do you think this is going to go down? You think we'll be back next week? Or and we're like, yeah,
literally,
probably, it's no big deal.
I re-listened to that and I was like, literally, we were like, this is not a big deal. I'll see you like after spring break. It's not going to be a thing. And here we are. What week is it? It's like I don't even know. I lost count.
I think it's July 13th, 2024.
Stop
so
it.
That's really exciting. I think I have my reunion coming up, my 5-year reunion.
You haven't aged a bit, Kev. You look great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, but yeah, so definitely times have changed, but I'm glad that we haven't missed a beat here on the podcast. And you have a little podcast project yourself. Would you like to talk at all about that?
I would love to.
Okay.
Because so last time I was on the BLOGCAST, I was with Devin. And the story goes, we were talking about things we returned to. And me and Devin, as usual, are geeking out over Stop Making Sense, the Talking Heads film. And something along the lines of you saying is like, if there was just this podcast about talking heads, no one would listen to it or something. And then me and Devin, along the lines, are just like, oh, yes, we would. We'd love that.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh, okay, let's do something like that. Let's make a podcast about the talking heads. But we're also like to be goofballs. So how do we talk about the talking heads while also being goofballs? And then we made Devin and Kevin Stop Making Sense, which you have been on. That episode has not been released.
I am anxiously awaiting the release of that episode because I'm just excited to hear it. It got weird so fast because that's the name of the game.
That's the goal, is to, pick a talking head song, talk about it for a bit, and then get as weird as you can, I guess.
Yeah. It just really spirals, and I appreciate and love it. It's hard to keep up, but I think it's like testing me. I loved it. It was a fun recording. Like that one was super, super fun. Very different than this. I'm very follow the outline, and we'll get through what we decided to talk about before. And you guys are like, existentialism, let's talk about it. And I'm like, okay, what? I was like Googling things on the side. I was like, who is this philosopher Devin just mentioned? Devin has a lot. You both just have a lot of knowledge stored up there about things I know nothing about.
Me. Yeah, Devin grounds me because I come in as an idea person. I'm like, does this make sense? Throw it out there. And Devin's actually like, there's years of study that went into this crazy thought that you just had. And I'm like, oh, thank you, Devin. So that's why I think it works very well. So I don't know when those will come out. We're anxiously awaiting when we have them nice and polished and they're ready. Yeah. So hopefully mid-June, that's the goal.
Sweet. I love it. That's when these will be coming out too, by the way. We're recording a little early, but I like that because now I have a little bit backstock of episodes that I'm just waiting to release. It feels good. I feel like we're on top of it, and I like that. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so Devin and Kevin Stop Making Sense. We'll maybe link that in the show notes. But for now, I'm excited to jump right on into the Her Reflections of the Week. Kevin, you are very familiar with this segment, but for any new listeners, Her Reflections of the Week are just us going through our acronym. Her, H is for happy, something you're happy about in this moment. E is for excited, something you're excited about the future. And then R is a recent realization that you might have had. Kev, do you want to start with the happy?
Sure. I'm happy that I'm doing stuff. And I think that's really all I don't know, that's what we have to do as a society, is just keep ourselves occupied, and even occupied with things that we normally wouldn't. So I'm reading and running and recording stuff with Devin and yourself, and I'm just doing stuff, and I'm keeping my days busy, and it feels good. It actually feels like a different kind of good than a quote unquote normal day would be, a normal week in a normal year. So, and these things feel like they're building upon each other, and I'm working towards things. I'm not just kind of sitting in isolation, not doing anything. I'm like, keep myself busy. I'm excited for the future, and that's what I'm happy about.
I
Yeah.
think that's a great thing to be happy about. I totally feel that. I think that's really the name of the game here is for me, it's been kind of a game of keeping myself distracted, but I think the way you framed it is a much more productive thought process of just like, we're out here doing stuff. Just because that stuff is limited by the global pandemic doesn't mean we can't be doing it.
Yeah.
I like that, Kev. My happy is very simply just catching up with you. It's been a minute since you and I talked, and a lot has, we keep in touch, but I don't know, we haven't like had a sit down in a minute, and a lot has happened. I graduated, for example. So like
Congratulations.
Thank you. Things are happening, and I'm just excited to I don't know, we have a good topic today, which obviously we'll get into, but I don't know, I'm excited to be here, Kevin. I'm excited to be on Zoom with you today. You look great. Oh, so good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you. Back at you. You said you're excited. Do you want to do your excited?
Oh, yes. Okay. Let's see. Let me scroll down. So I'm excited, and this kind of feeds off of your happy as well, because I'm just excited about the BLOGCAST in particular. I really have been using this all of quarantine to kind of, like I said, distract myself sort of, but also just to kind of give some kind of purpose to this, all of a sudden having a ton of free time and time to play around with this kind of stuff. So I'm just excited about where we're going and how it's kind of progressed. And I don't know, I'm proud of myself, I guess, for prioritizing it the way I have, because I don't know, I was thinking about it recently, like nothing's going to happen if I miss a week of this, like recording or putting it out. Like no one's going to notice, no one's going to care. But I've just kind of held myself accountable, and I'm glad because it's just given me a really good structure, and I'm proud of it. Like we haven't missed a week since quarantine started, and it's just been a good way to kind of track and like we said, to look back and hear what we were talking about like 8 weeks ago to just track how I'm feeling has been a really cool thing. This is like an audio diary kind of project that I'm just excited to be able to look back on, which we've talked about a little bit, you and I, like, hey, grandkids, come listen to my podcast. So, but I don't know, I'm excited about the future. Like, I'm happy about where it's going, and I don't know, I'm excited.
As you should be. I'm proud of, I think I like to claim myself as the biggest Her Life fan.
I think you are.
There might be others. I listen.
I think you're up there.
I listen to every episode multiple times. Yeah, I gotta be up there.
Gotta be.
And am I the first, except for Hannah and Emma, am I the first third time guest?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. You're a regular. The people demand it. Our big listeners, like Kevin, for example. No. Like, bring him back.
Kevin charts very well. He polls very well with our listeners.
Listen, it's a whole new demographic when Kevin's on an episode.
Herc.
Herc.
Am I the first person we've done this on a Friday evening? We have Bevs now. It's a Friday evening.
Oh, yeah. I think the Zoom episode, Are You Down to Zoom DTZ with Sarah Brown, was maybe a Saturday night, because we did that like off of a happy hour too. We were all drinking that night. Well, not all of us. I was definitely drinking. What are you drinking, Kevin? I meant to ask you.
I'm drinking a Stella Artois.
Excuse me. That's like fancy beer. I don't know if I've ever in my life had a Stella Artois.
Unsolicited advice is the Costco variety pack of Belgian beers. Very good.
Oh.
Very good.
Okay, good to know.
They pack a bunch of Stella in there, among other goodies.
I was in the market for Belgian beer, so it's good to know. This is a Cider Boys Grand Mimosa. It is hard cider, apple, and orange in one.
Wow, you can't compare the two, but you could put them in a cider.
That's exactly what my dad said. He's like, hey, it's like apples and oranges. I was like, there's a joke in there somewhere. I'm glad you picked up on it. But when I had my first sip, do you know where I was immediately transported to?
Clinton Hall.
Clinton Hall? How did you know? That's exactly. That's like the taste. It tastes like a downtown cider with like a little bit of citrus.
Oh wow. I'd kill one of those right now.
Right? To just sit there, have some French fries with friends. Imagine, okay, I have a couple things to say about Clinton Hall while we got on the subject. One, that's never going to exist anymore, having all those games where everybody touches them as they're eating. Like, can you imagine? That is the most, like, coronavirus is living in Clinton Hall right now. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Not going to fly anymore.
Thriving there.
So I'm glad that we, got our games in that mini Jenga while we could, because that's not happening anymore. Second, man, if that one waiter at Clinton Hall is listening, I always thought I might fall in love with him. Do you know the one I'm talking about? There's this one, like, I find him so strikingly handsome, and I saw him at Beer Hall a couple times. He's just like, I don't know what his name is. Oh, Emma might know
Can't
because the
help you.
last time we were there, I don't know. I'm just gonna send this maybe into like the Instagram page for Clinton Hall. Just be like, have all of your waiters. I'm just mad. Like that's never gonna happen. That's a love affair that will never happen now.
Yeah.
Isn't that sad?
Yeah.
Kevin, I have
but
so many love updates. I can't wait. Like I don't even. That should be its own segment. Maybe we'll get to it.
love updates. Okay, that's fine. We
Let's
can do love
honestly
updates.
let's do it. I'm gonna type it in right now. I just miss Clinton Hall though. First of all,
Me
love
too.
updates. Okay, I
Totally.
added it in. That's gonna be at the end of part 1. Anyway, I'm glad you're enjoying your Stella Artois. I'm enjoying my cider. It's bringing up a lot, but that's just we didn't even get through the reflections yet. What's your excited? Did you say?
I'm excited. So on your earlier coronavirus episode where you had people send in snippets
Yes.
of how they're dealing with it,
Coping
Devin's,
with quarantine.
yes, coping with quarantine.
Yeah.
Devin's was very funny, but also true. He said you can try out a new hairstyle. So I can't go to a barber, but also I'm the type of hippie youngin that likes to grow his hair out, facial hair. And
All
now
of
that
it.
I'm home and I can't, I'm excited to just see how my hair grows out because I've never had it. I don't think I've ever had it this long.
Well, I was gonna ask. It looks good. Are you gelled? Like, what did you do with your hair today, Kev? And also, we're on YouTube now, so people might be seeing this.
Oh,
yeah, flip it around.
That's what I want to do. I want to be able to like tousle it, and
it looks good. I thought you had some kind of product in there at least. I was gonna ask, really.
No, just Suave for Men 2-in-1 shampoo conditioner. Yeah, that's about it.
I'm happy for you. Well, my hair update is that my roots are now about 2 inches off my scalp, and it sucks. My hair has never been this long. Also, like since like 6th grade, I'm really struggling.
I kind of like it. You kind of have like a.
Do you like the roots or the length, or both?
Both.
Thanks.
All of it. Yeah, I like the color I don't know,
the
combination you have right now. Yeah, dimension. Okay. It's very interesting because
I wish it faded out better because it's literally just a line.
Yeah, but it works.
Thanks, Kev. I appreciate that.
Cool.
I'm thinking of going pink. I might just dye it pink because why not? Like I have a box dye. I might just do it
like a lighter pink, like a light pink.
Like a bubble, like cotton candy kind of pink.
Yeah, and then you can play like the bass guitar in a cool band.
Well, I already do that.
Oh yeah.
It's a quarantine band.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you, Kev. Filled my bucket a little. Realizations? Do you have a good one for the R?
A good one? I don't know.
And they're all good ones. There's no such thing as a bad realization to have. I
don't know if I can measure this one in good or bad. It's a little jaded. Do you want me to read it?
Yeah. No, I'm even more intrigued now.
All right, here we go. I was on a run 2 days ago, and I was running through my New York suburban town, and there were some nice like families outside on their deck. I'm like, wow, it's really nice to be home. I have like a nice home to go back to.
Yeah.
But a lot of Americans don't want to be home, and they're literally rioting to go out of their homes for a multitude of reasons. But my realization, and I don't know how grounded this is, but I'd like your input, is that a lot of Americans aren't happy with their home lives, which is why I think they want to leave. And this isn't like a matter of personal will, like if they can really buckle down and if they can handle it. Like I think this is like systemic issues of finance and happiness and employment and mental health and healthcare that all culminate in less than happy home lives, and it makes sense why a lot of people don't want to be stuck there because there's a lot of trouble there. So that's just something I was like, it was kind of an empathetic realization of the world because I was very confused why people couldn't just buckle down. But I'm like, oh, I have a happy home and it's safe and people love me there, and I could stay there for a long time, and that's a privilege. So that was just a realization I had.
Yeah, no, I think it's interesting because there's a couple things I want to say. Like on the one hand, it speaks to perspective and how I think it's important to remove yourself from your own little bubble every now and again to consider other viewpoints and how other people are handling regular moments and then also extreme moments like a quarantine. But then also when you started talking about this, I immediately thought, do you think I think having the outlet of being able to leave and do other things and see other people is definitely something that's helpful, especially in those situations. I think it's helpful in all situations, regardless of what one's home life is like. So I wonder if this, I don't know, speaks more to the importance of an outlet than it does to the hindrance of a bad home life. What do you think?
Yeah. Maybe being there a lot, even if you like it there, can be
right.
fun.
I think
Like,
that
you
would be the
love,
case with anything, right? Like right now, I'm
yeah,
like, I would do anything to leave and go back to Fordham. But if I was, oh, that's sad because man, I didn't even think of that yet
you
because I
graduate.
can't go back there. I'm like
Yeah.
graduated. But also, it's like if I was stuck there and couldn't leave and couldn't come back to my actual home, like that would also feel very limiting and scary.
And you can
Interesting.
I love my siblings, but if I spent every waking moment with them, it could be
Yeah.
frustrating. Like if I love mac and cheese, but if I eat it every night for dinner, eventually you'll be like, I gotta go get some pizza or something.
I feel like this is one of those moments where I'm going to go and eat mac and cheese, like how you made the podcast, something I said. It's
Yeah.
like, actually, to me, that sounds like a great idea, and I might do it. But I see your point. Like, it's
Welcome to Rachel Eats Mac and Cheese every day.
every
This
night.
is day 40. I hate
Be
this
interesting.
idea. We'll go in strong, honestly. I love mac and cheese.
Yeah, honestly. But I totally see your point. I think having options speaks volumes, and I think people are realizing that now more than ever. And I also think when all this ends, hopefully sooner rather than later, we're going to appreciate that more, you know?
Yeah. This is definitely a perspective altering event. World event.
1,000% for entire, like multiple generations. It's wild to think about. We're going to talk a lot about like the differences between generations. That's kind of a lot of where my note taking took me for this episode. So I'm excited to see what you have to say about all of that. But not to worry, it's all coming up.
Yes.
My realization, it segues off my Fordham thing that I was talking about before. I think right now my Instagram bio is one of the funniest things I've ever done. I'm really proud of it. I think it's very my style. I think it's my humor. I just loved it. So I'm going to read it to you. It says, New York is my campus, Fordham is my school, this is my Instagram. And then once quarantine happened, I bracketed off edit, Zoom is my campus, which I just thought added a whole other layer. Like, I just thought that was clever. If anyone listening doesn't know, if you're not a Fordham person, the whole slogan for Fordham is New York is my campus, Fordham is my school. So I thought, like, okay, my Instagram is mostly Fordham, mostly New York. This is a good little, I just thought it was clever.
I think it's very clever.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, but now I'm realizing, like, I have to change that. That's my realization, because I'm no longer at Fordham. I'm no longer a student. New York is no longer my campus. It could be my home one day, but it's not right now. So, I have to come up with another, like, funny bio to put. And just the fact that I have to delete that is making me sad. That's, like, a very concrete thing. In a time when not many concrete things around graduation are happening that I have to, like, physically do as a reminder. I don't know. I'm, like, sad about it. If anybody has any ideas for my Instagram bio, let me know.
I think you'll think of something, but I think you also don't have to rush to get rid of it. I think you have until August 30th.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can hold on to it.
I also think it gives me, like, if I keep it up there for a little bit, it seems like, oh, she's just, like, too busy to, like, edit her thing, even though I was thinking about it before graduation even happened. But no one's going to know that unless they listen.
Yeah.
The second I got my diploma virtually, I was like, gotta change it.
You had your phone out.
That's actually what's written in Latin on the Fordham diplomas. I don't know if you knew. It's time to change your Instagram bio. So the more you know.
I didn't get that. I didn't get that on mine.
It was cut off on yours.
Yeah. The business school, you're allowed to keep it forever. It's kind of your personal brand. Yeah.
I knew there was something about Gabelli, man. I just should have stuck it. That's so good. Oh my God, I love it. Okay, good round of her. Kevin, it's always good to hear your reflections. You always take it to a new level, and I appreciate that.
Nice.
I am so excited for our next segment, which you specifically requested.
Yes.
Do you want to start us off? I'll introduce it, but do you want to start?
I could.
Okay.
Sure.
Or do you want? I can also. It's totally up to you. It's time for Swoon of the Week. Swoon of the Week is really becoming a major hit, I think. It's one of my favorite things. I'm botching preemptively, half because I'm drinking and half because, like, I get nervous to talk about my, like, do you see? I'm, like, full botch.
Oh, yes.
Anyway. See, it never was an issue before. Now this YouTube is, like, getting me down with the blotch. Everyone's going to know. But it's okay. Kevin, I'm on the edge of my seat. I need to know who is your Swoon of the Week.
All right. Rachel, you know of nouns, right? Nouns?
Yes. Yeah, I've heard of them.
They're people,
Person, place, thing, or an animal.
places, or things. Yes.
Mhm.
My swoon of the week is all of those things.
Kevin,
Hold
no.
it, stay with me, stay with me. People, place, things. My swoon of the week are female Australian rockers because
Wait, say
they
it again.
are,
Female Australian rockers?
yes,
Like a
as
rock
in
star?
like a rock star
All right, I like this.
from Australia who is female
Okay.
because they were just releasing some of the best rock music ever, and I have
Interesting.
nothing I can do but swoon and
Consume it.
jam out to it.
Consume and swoon.
Consume and swoon. Yes. Let me give you some highlights.
Okay.
Sia,
Is she
Courtney
Australian? I
Barnett.
didn't know.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Okay, tell me more, sorry.
Sia, Courtney Barnett, uh, Hannah Joy from Middle Kids, Julia Jacqueline, and the pinnacle, in my opinion, is the band Camp Cope,
Mm.
and that is like my number one swoon. I swoon over all three of them. Punk rock, raw sound, and I think they're genuinely the best rock band making music right now.
That's a big claim.
And I'll stand by it. I'll fight
Wow.
for it. Yeah.
I am overall unfamiliar, but I'm excited to get familiar because those are big statements.
They're amazing. 3-piece rock band.
What's the
Georgia
name again?
Mac, Camp Cope.
Camp Cope.
Yeah. Georgia Mac, vocals, guitar, Sarah Thompson on the drums, and I think if I had to choose one swoon of the week, it'd be Kelly Dawn Helmrich, who plays bass.
Okay.
She
Kelly.
has single-handedly changed the way I look at the bass as an instrument,
Whoa.
and it's amazing. It's really great. So
Can
I
you tell us
swoon.
a little more about that? Like, how has she? Just give me a teaser. Like, what
Oh.
about Kelly?
All
Can't
right,
even.
so
See, I envy your beard, first of all, because I bet you're blotching too, and I just can't see it.
I'm blotching.
Okay.
Okay, so I highly recommend their NPR Tiny Desk concert because that's how I found them.
Okay.
Opens up, darkness, fade into NPR Tiny Desk, underlying it, awesome solo bass groove laid down by Kelly. Zoom out,
Classic.
3 very distinct female rockers, like all look very different and all look like people I've never seen before, and they're just laying down some of just the nice, most like rawest songs I've ever heard. And I want to call them feminist anthems, but they're more than that. They're just fantastic songs that are very inspiring, and the lyricism is amazing, and the vocals of Georgia Mac are just out of this world, like very cool.
Wow.
And there's nothing I can do but like just sit back and be awe-inspired by them. And I think underrated is an overused word, but I think they're highly underrated, and they talk about that in their music because I think the female aspect of them is limiting, which is a problem in music, especially rock music. So it just helps me. It also helps me learn about myself and as a music listener and appreciator. So Camp Cope is my swoon of the week.
I love that. Kevin, I'm glad we did this. And wow, it's also just funny for me to hear you like use the word swoon and mean it, because I can tell that you mean it. And that is refreshing, because no one's like surprised that I'm swooning every day. But like, I like that we peeled back a layer. Kevin, I'm so happy. I can't wait to look them up. I can't wait to listen. You said you discovered on the Tiny Desk concert?
The
That was
Tiny
your
Desk
first
concert.
encounter? Wow.
That was my first encounter, yeah.
Love it.
Blew me away.
I'm going to have to look it up.
Please do.
I definitely will. Wow, really good pick. Great pick. Okay, Kelly, if you're listening, I'm going to send it to her. I'm big on Instagram.
Now I'm blotching.
Hey.
That'd be cool. I'd love
That'd
to
be so cool.
Yeah.
I bet she'd love, after hearing that glowing review, oh my God, what if you guys get married? Okay, we'll talk about it later. We'll do that in the love update, not to worry. Okay, my swoon of the week, I'm very excited to share. His name is Gavin Stewart. I'm almost positive that not many people have heard of him, which means I'm discovering him. I'm very excited about it. Gavin is a cast member on a new Bravo series. It's called Camp Getaway. And it's essentially just like this wild weekend summer camp for adults. And the cast of this show are called social coordinators, whose job it is to essentially just facilitate the party, make everyone coming to the camp feel super welcome, and just like be the first one on the dance floor, eat with everyone at dinner to make sure everyone's like talking and having a great time, but like at summer camp. Which, like, what a concept. Just take it in for a second. I also feel like I would do really, really well as a social coordinator at Camp Getaway, except for the fact that I hate camp with everything within me.
Yeah. They sound like RAs.
No, Kevin, I was going to say it because it sounds a heck of a lot like RAs. I guarantee that every single cast member on that show was an RA in undergrad. I just feel it in my soul. They have the vibe. I feel like I can identify it because I too have the vibe.
And are they all just super attractive? I just imagine very attractive people.
They're not like that. It's funny because they say because the like hottie of this series, as the show is like proclaiming it, is this guy named Adam. And then this other cast member is like, let's be real, you guys. Adam is a 5 out of 10 New York City, but you take him to camp and he becomes like a solid 9.5 out of 10. So it's different, you know what I mean? But I'm going to venture to say that Gavin is like, I'm going to say just 9 out of 10 overall. I don't want to do 10 out of 10 because I'm trying to like be cool. Like I'm watching, but like,
Yeah.
Anyway, let me tell you. So first of all, I feel a little bad for Gavin because he wasn't on since the beginning. He got brought on the cast a couple episodes into the series. And on his first episode, the major plot line was about how these two girls were like obsessed with Adam, the guy who's like really not that hot at all. And he's also very irresponsible and just doesn't do his job that well. He's very sassy. I don't like the vibe. I do not like the vibe. Gavin, however, comes in. He's doing his job. He's like being nice to everybody, looking hot. He's got this great deep voice. Like to have him on a podcast, I would listen to that every day of my life. Like he just has a good voice. So, okay. So you think my story ends there? It doesn't, because this is my student of the week and I'm trying to take it to the next level to keep people interested. So I watched his episode and I'm like, I'm going to find him on Instagram. It was very hard to find him on Instagram because he doesn't just have his name. So I had to do a little bit of digging, but I found him. I followed him. He only has like 1,300 followers, which like he's about to go up because he's a Bravo celebrity. However, I'm like, that's on par with me. We're the same. I was like, we're on an even playing field. So I slid into his DMs.
What?
I did. I just did.
Wow.
I played it very cool. I just said, hey, comma, just finished your episode, ! Enter. So excited for you. Send.
Any emojis?
0 emojis. Not even the wave.
I like the wave.
I didn't do it. I wanted to keep it cool. And his response wasn't great, but I also got a response. So I'm not that mad about it. He liked the message, which you can do on Instagram, and then he just said thanks. There was no punctuation. There was no emoji, but I'm not even mad. Like that was I laid the foundation. I think I played it cool. Yeah. I don't know.
That's pretty cool.
Story. Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm trying this new thing where it's Corona No Rules, which that episode is coming out in July, by the way, because I have another story, Kevin. You're going to die. Because I'm just trying to it's Corona No Rules. Like nobody can leave their houses. If you want to shoot your shot, there has never been a better time. Like everyone's bored. No one's going to be mad at a DM from a random person. You know what I'm saying? Like now is the time, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's been a very interesting LinkedIn conversation that happened because I was doing a little shot shooting and I ended up on this very extensive LinkedIn. I didn't start it on LinkedIn. He then connected with me and started a LinkedIn message conversation that got very flirty, and I'm still I'm nervous about it.
I think I have a maybe not a very unpopular opinion, but I think at least in college.
Yeah. So hot.
I think at least in college, the LinkedIn ad has some level of interest, right?
No, I couldn't agree more. There's something very interesting about that because it's I don't need to be connected with a single member of the Fordham football team. We are not in the same field.
Yeah.
Pun intended. But you know what I'm saying? You're not going to help me in my career one day. But if you look good in your headshot, I might just hit add.
Yeah. And it's I'm not adding you just because of that. I mean, I think that's kind of weird and that's not the vibe of LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. But there's a trace of it, right? And we can't just ignore it.
No, I love that you're saying this because it's something that I feel in my soul, but was always too scared to say. And I never would have pegged you as a believer in the LinkedIn flirtation. So I just like that you're the one who brought this up. I agree. I completely agree.
I think the attraction is that there is supposed to be no attraction. So it's you want what you can have, you.
It's so true.
It's supposed to be so formal, but in that you're oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow. I love this. No, that's so true. Oh, this is very interesting to me. I've been really hopping on LinkedIn. I've been really just honing my profile. That's another thing though that I have to update with like post-grad stuff now, I guess.
Yeah, and that's the list. Your Instagram bio and your entire
know.
LinkedIn page.
God, oh my, it's just like such a struggle. Anyway, my spoon of the week is Gavin Stewart. Gavin, I'm definitely going to DM this to him and tag him in it. So, Gavin, if you make it to this part of the episode, follow me back. I really think I have good content. I think we could have a good, and oh, you know what? Add me on LinkedIn, Gavin, if you're into it. So, anyway, well, what a good spoon of the week. This was good. Kevin, thank you.
Endorse me on Microsoft Office, Gavin.
Yeah, right.
Would you?
Endorse my flirtation skills. That should be a LinkedIn thing. Whoa, what a world. Wait, that would be interesting. A kind of social networking site. No, that actually sounds very dangerous, like a Black Mirror episode. I'm gonna.
Wait, so let me hear it. We don't have to make
No,
it. I'm curious what you're.
I was thinking something along the lines of, well, I remember reading like a tweet or something one time about someone being something along the lines of, I wish ex-girlfriends could like rate the guy and the new girlfriend would like have access to those ratings. Because it's like the guy's never going to tell you like, oh yeah, I was a major asshole to my girlfriend and that's why we broke up. He's going to be like, she was crazy or she did something crazy, like generally. But if you could talk to that girl, would you want to?
I think this is something that maybe would be helpful for many women in the world, because a lot of guys are, let's just say I'm pretty disappointed in how all males ever have done, period. It's a sentence.
Period. Full stop.
Like, yeah. Like, we'll if we're making this theoretically, like, there's a lot of human rights violations possibly.
Well, yeah.
But, like, I get
you have to ignore that. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something intriguing that I think would be helpful.
Yeah. Like a network for, I mean, if the goal is like protection of people and happiness, like, it's a nice goal, but like, that's the ultimate conversation of the 21st century. Like, how do we balance human rights with
good intent,
happy social media posts? So,
yeah.
All right, we'll put that up on the shelf, and we'll take it down.
Store that away for later. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, let's move on to a little content catch-up. Kevin, what have you been watching, reading, listening to? What's been keeping you entertained besides the Her Life podcast?
Oh yeah, well, I listened to every episode of the Her Life podcast, so that's number one.
Yeah. Thank you.
I am on. Just finishing. I'll probably finish tonight the 5th Harry Potter book, or the Phoenix. They are in the Department of Mysteries. They are beating up Death Eaters. It is intense right now. But so Harry Potter, I'm like starting from the top and I'm going through. I'm really excited for the next one. Really good. And simultaneously I'm reading 100 Years of Solitude, which Devin recommended to me. So I'm excited about that.
We talked about that in the rewatch
really
episode. Yeah. Oh, cool.
And then watching, I got a nice rotation of Netflix. So I like rotation of books and Netflix for different moods. Avatar: The Last Airbender, rewatching that. Greatest story ever told, I think.
Wow.
That's a phrase usually stored for the Bible, but I'm gonna go out and put Avatar: The Last Airbender up there.
Okay. I mean,
Portlandia and Community.
Oh, Community. You know what? Someone told me once, and I don't know how to feel because I only watched a few episodes of Community after I was told this, that I really remind her of the girl with the brown hair. I don't know. I can picture her. She played Glow. She's married to a Franco brother.
Yes. I know exactly who you're talking about, and I'm watching the show actively, but I still can't think of her name.
But do you agree? Do you think I'm like her? Because I watched a few episodes, and she seemed like not who I want to be.
I can imagine someone who doesn't know you very well could say that.
Okay.
Because like those people are like stereotypes or caricatures. So like it could be that like.
That's true. Like a certain aspect of my personality made her believe.
Yeah. Like Kevin, you're super hyper confident, so you remind me of Joel McHale. But I'm not as tall or Jackson. Yeah.
I think Joel McHale, just as a sidebar, is like one of the funniest people ever. And I think I don't know. Did you ever watch The Soup when it was Joel McHale?
On the E! Network? When it was Joel McHale? That sentence doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Okay, then you haven't seen the show. There was a show called The Soup. E just
Okay.
brought it back with this new girl, Jade something, and I'm sorry, I just don't think she's that funny. Joel McHale was so funny. It's essentially just making fun of TV. They take clips from real shows, real things that aired that week, and just kind of roast them. But it's like, I don't know, he just did it so well, and he was so funny about it. And then he did a Netflix show called The Joel McHale Show, starring Joel McHale, where he essentially did the same thing and then like made fun of himself for just redoing the soup with a different name. I just think he's really funny. But I couldn't get into Community. I don't know. Maybe I should give it another shot.
It's pretty good. I mean, I like to have book and show going that like you can kind of just have on.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And Community and
fair.
Portlandia are good for those. So I just like kind of have them on. They're pretty good. You know, I laugh.
Yeah.
But if someone's looking for something like serious to get into, Avatar: The Last Airbender just got put up on United States Netflix.
Yeah.
100%
I've heard a lot about that.
serious.
The boys are freaking out. I guess some girls
Boys.
are too. I've just noticed like a lot of guys on Instagram being like, "It's here. This is our time." Anyway, it's just what I noticed. Interesting. Okay, I'm glad. Is that good? Anything else you want to mention for your content?
A lot of Spotify playlists. Follow me on Spotify.
Oh, yeah.
Verga. Been really into post-punk bands.
I'll link you.
Smith's, Joy
Okay.
Division. Very good. Got a lot of playlists going.
Sweet. All right, cool. I'll definitely check
Wait,
out the new one.
Can I add to that?
Of course.
Can I add to that?
Of course.
Content. Songs for dance parties in your room during quarantine. What songs can you like dance to by yourself?
Are you asking
Just
me
like-
personally?
Well, you can throw it out there, but that's just what I've been doing, and that's been like a playlist I'm building.
Okay. I'll think about
Something
it.
to think about. Yeah, please do.
I started a new playlist, and I'm going to be talking about it on an episode that didn't yet. Anyway, I talked about this on an episode about post-grad with Emma and Hannah, how I have this like symbol of a blue bedroom that I'll have in an apartment in New York City as like this symbol of me just arriving in New York and being like this new and improved version of like adult Rachel. So I started a playlist that's something like my blue apartment on the Upper West Side, because like that's the dream. And it's just all these songs that like I feel like would play in the scene in the movie when like it's raining but I found myself and I'm like running somewhere. Where is she running? That's the big question. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's
Is that where you want
my
to be,
new
the Upper West
playlist.
Side? Are we gonna be neighbors?
No, yes. Just
Wow.
because you're there. I'm just kidding.
Me?
Anywhere Kevin is, that's where the blue apartment will be. No,
I've
I
heard
would
that
love to be on the
before.
Upper West Side. I think, yeah, right. But no, that's the goal. Don't you love it?
It's pretty great.
I know.
Whenever I go anywhere, I'm like, why would I live anywhere else? Like, there's so many great places in New York City, but the Upper West Side is just
I just
almost
think it's the
objectively
dream.
the best. It's
No,
so good.
I completely agree. I'm gonna get there. I feel it.
I'll see
Anyway.
you there.
Okay, sounds good. But anyway, follow that. I'll link that playlist too. There's 4 songs on it right now, but I think they really speak to the vibe I'm going for. So
What's the first one you added?
the first one is a song called Medicine by someone I found on my Discover Weekly, and I honestly cannot think of her name. I don't think I'd know it if you told me because she's new to me. But it just, you could hear the song and it just makes you feel like she's like coming into her own. It's just a really good vibe.
Fantastic.
I'll send it to you.
Please do.
Okay. Speaking of, actually, I'm very much on this like coming of age kick with books that I'm reading. I'm like literally Googling good coming of age books to read. I just finished This Side of Paradise because I wanted to finish that before I graduated. Interesting. Also, Kevin, I knew you would appreciate this, so I couldn't remember why I put This Side of Paradise in here because I already talked about it, but this is why. I finished that book literally the night before my graduation day, my virtual graduation. And on the last page, like the blank page, I wrote this journal entry about just very brief about like quarantine and graduating and like using my Fordham years to really find myself and da-da-da. And then I told myself that I'm going to give that copy of the book to my kid when they start their senior year of college. And I just think that I'm excited to do it.
Pretty
cool.
cool.
That'll be nice. I think that'll be cool. And then he or she, God, I hope it's a girl, will write in it and then give it to their kid. It'll be like a thing, you know?
Yeah. Until you've written on every page new things, generations and generations.
Wouldn't that be rad?
I mean, it'd be hard to read, but it'd definitely be rad.
That's the thing.
Very cool. Yeah.
You'd have to get a different version. Yeah, but I don't know. There's an idea there, and I was happy about it. But anyway, so that felt like a good like moment for me. Anyway, coming of age kick. I just started a book called Sweet Bitter by Stephanie Danler, and it's about this girl who's just kind of finding herself in like the New York City restaurant scene, and it's just been cool. I don't know. I really am a sucker for like a New York City setting. Girl just graduated from high school or college and she's just starting a new chapter. It feels very on the nose for me right now. And that's just been kind of what I'm into. So if you have any recommendations on that line, yes.
I do.
You do?
Yes, a very good one. The Flamethrowers. I
Ooh.
can't remember exactly who wrote it, but
Okay,
it's
okay.
very
Okay,
good. And she is a artist, motorcycle rider that does
Oh.
speed runs in Las
Mm-hmm.
Vegas. Her
Oh
name's
my God.
Reno, and then she moves to New York to join the art scene there and tries to find herself there, and it's very good. And then she goes to Sicily, and then she goes back to Las Vegas and New York. Very cool. Highly recommend the Flamethrowers.
Okay.
Yeah, it might be
I'll
by
look into it.
Rachel. Maybe it's by someone named Rachel Kushner.
That's so meant to
That sounds
be.
about right. Yeah.
Okay, I'll look it up. I'll add it to my list. Great, thanks, Kev.
Please do.
I knew you were the right guy to ask. Now, something that will transition us into two important conversations that I want to have on this episode or part two. I recently listened to a new podcast that I found because they followed me on Twitter, which I felt really cool about. Because I was like, am I a podcaster that people are finding? So that just was a cool drop in the bucket for me. It's called Dateable: Your Insider's Look into Modern Dating. I love that. Very on the nose for me. Standout episode, it was season 10, episode 5. I scrolled back, found one that really would speak to me, and it's millennial dating versus Gen Z dating. And I found it so interesting because I think often, me included, we lump in millennial Gen Z together because you and I, being born in the late 90s, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Are very on the cusp. We are the absolute youngest you can get as a millennial, but the very tip top of Gen Z. So I think it's cool and we can maybe sort of speak to two or maybe speak to neither experience wholeheartedly. Interesting. The main takeaway I got from the episode, the difference in dating between millennials and Gen Z, is that Gen Z is so scared of repeating millennial mistakes, like random hookups, scared of commitment, all of that kind of stuff. So Gen Z is shifting to more traditional, I guess, conservative tropes of dating and courtship, and is more focused on marriage and settling down quicker. And I just thought that was so interesting because, of course, we're on the top end of that. So the real people they're talking about are 16-year-olds, which is interesting that these, I don't know, that's already what they're polled to want when they date.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? Do you think it's true?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see that trend of not wanting to repeat mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is a huge defining aspect of Gen Z, which I really appreciate because I forgot where I put this. Oh, here it is. I have it in my notes. Is that I think can I curse on this or should I censor myself?
Yeah, we've been doing that lately.
Fantastic. Oh, very cool. Friday
Quarantine.
Evening, got a few
No
drinks
rules.
going. Gen Z, I wrote has, in big letters, we have big bullshit detectors. Any bullshit that's fed to us, we're I'm not having that. Whether it be political or work, relationship-wise, I think a lot of people are very wary of this. And also, we're entering a world that I have written as, we're walking into a dumpster fire, and we're kind of walking towards it. I mean, we were never given anything to put it out, but we're really smart enough to pick up the things around us and work to put the fire out. And that's kind of what our life is. A lot of us are Gen Z people are turning 17, 18. My little brother just turned 19 today. He's a Gen Z.
Happy birthday.
And he's just looking at this. Thank you, Jack. Happy birthday, Jack.
Happy birthday, Jack.
And they're just walking into a really not great situation, but that causes them to think on their feet and get themselves out of it and not waste their time with things that past generations have done. So
interesting.
Yes,
I agree.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely true. It's interesting to think, and I think definitely this pandemic, the quarantine, all of it is completely, I mean, this isn't a hot take at all. It's definitely shaping the way Gen Z will take on adulthood and the job market and all of that, which again, we'll talk about a little later because there's some interesting points I want to make. But I don't know. It's very interesting to me. I don't know. The difference it makes sense, but I guess I just never stopped to really consider it. Do you consider yourself Gen Z or a millennial?
Well, the person that introduced me to what Gen Z is Devin. He talks about it a lot, and he would really talk about. We'd be in the cafeteria and be like, Kevin, and that Devin's gonna lay down some knowledge when he says
Yeah. I can hear it in his voice right now. Yeah.
Yeah, and he'll pause, and then he'll end the sentence with right. He'll kind of give you a few sentences, right? He's talking about Gen Z. He's like, Kevin, we're different than millennials, right? we care about different things, right? I'm like, yeah, you're right, Devin. So
Yeah.
he really outlined like what Gen Z is, and based on like these sales emails that I get, where like learn about Gen Z and millennial like habits.
Hmm.
I guess I would define myself as Gen Z, but I think that's also because millennials got such a bad rap, and
Yeah.
Gen Z is standing on the shoulders of giants being millennials. Like they really laid the groundwork for what a modern young person is and does, and now they're getting married and having families, and a lot of them are succeeding at it. And they got
Yeah.
so much BS from the world for I don't know what reason. Like they use phones a
Yeah.
lot. I don't know. That's really all they did.
Right. Yeah, no,
But
that's so interesting. No, I don't know if I have much to add. It's just I think the difference is fascinating because I think before I looked into it or thought about it much, I would have been like, oh, there's not a big difference between millennial Gen Z because I kind of can see how I fit into both. And because we're on the cusp of it, I was like, it all just blends into one another. But I think the more you really look at specific instances of like what is one thing about one thing versus the other, there are very stark contrasts, which I guess is the trend. Like if you look at older generations of like beyond millennials, I think you can definitely track that. So it's interesting to think, and I think we're in a cool place. I don't know, not that you have like it doesn't determine what we're going to do in our lives if we're going to
yeah,
follow the trend of our generation, but I just think it's cool to consider. I don't know. Interesting. Hmm.
and I think if anything, Gen Z and millennials should unite and like work
Yeah.
together and not fight each other if that's what's gonna
Right.
happen. Because I think the defining element of both those generations is that we have a time limit. Like we're the first two generations that are like, hey, if we don't get this together, the world is literally gonna end.
No, it's
So
so
that's something
true.
to deal with. Which is why we're probably like,
Right.
hey, let's get this stuff moving. I'm not gonna waste my time with toxic relationships and
Yeah.
daunting work life balances that don't make sense. I'm gonna like try to save the world while also living it up as long as I have it
Yeah.
here.
Wow, I like that. That's so true. I see another thing I really didn't think about, but it's definitely a factor. Like it,
Hmm.
yeah. Oh, the world, man. Anyway,
The world.
but this all kind of prefaces a larger discussion I want to have about passions. And we want to talk about, I preemptively titled this episode, It's Not Just a Passion Project, because I think that's something we can both speak to is you and I are kind of going after things that we want and are passionate about and hoping to make careers out of them, you know? And
Hmm.
I don't know. I think it's interesting to talk about that within the framework of Gen Z versus millennial generational kind of trends and things. So that's all kind of a big preface to the bigger conversation that we're about to have in part two. But I don't know. This is very interesting to me. Kevin, any other remarks?
Um.
I also want to do a love update in case you have any. I don't know. I kind of told mine. It's the
Okay.
guy from
Do you
Bravo.
want to continue? Do you have any other love updates that you'd like to share?
Um, I don't know, not specifically. I will say, okay, I'll say this because I want to get your opinion on it. This is kind of not related, but could be very related. I'm, I don't know what the rules are for dating, online dating in quarantine now, because I'm not gonna lie, like I've been swiping it up. I'm talking to lots of people, but I don't know. Like, I just kind of feel mean because I feel like I got I don't know. I've thrown my hats into many a ring. And I feel
Hmm.
like I don't know when you get to a certain point with someone that you met on the internet and like aren't going to meet in real life anytime soon where like should I feel bad for talking to other people? Do you know what I'm saying? Cuz I feel like some of them know that it's happening and are mad at me. But I'm also like I can do anything I want. Like I don't even know you. And that's something I
Yeah.
say a lot when I get mad. And they're like that's mean. And I was like it is mean, but also I don't know you. So, what
Yeah.
are your thoughts? How should I handle this?
Um. You
Lots of
know,
hinge guys.
it's very interesting to talk about dating apps during quarantine
Yeah.
because there's like a lot of the fun in dating apps is like, am I gonna meet this person? Are we gonna do something? Like, are we gonna
Yeah.
have, hook up or be more than friends or even fall in love and get married? Like, there's always that.
Oh,
But now there's not. It's just you're going on there to just kind of put yourself out there and just have some sort of human connection
yeah.
in a situation where that's very hard to come by. And let's see how are these users reacting when physical contact and a date and sex and hookups aren't on the table. It's just you two people talking and just trying to connect in some way with no clear direction on where it's going to go. And I think that's really fascinating. You can actually probably find someone that's really special during this time because you're just like, wow, I want to keep talking to them. They seem interesting. Or you can kind of just like put yourself out there, and this sounds bad, but like just work on your game, I guess. Like,
no, I kind of feel that. I feel like this is a good excuse to just kind of, I don't know, like create a new dating persona for yourself that like one day, yeah, maybe you could like try out in the real world, but you can kind of be, I always have felt this way about online dating. And I talked about this with Kay on our episode that we did about it, is just kind of, you have this opportunity before you meet the person to decide which version of yourself you're going to be. And I don't mean that in a manipulative way. I mean that because we all have many different facets of our personalities. And I think when you're with different people, different aspects come out, you know what I mean? And you kind of, or different versions of yourself. It goes back to the conversation we once had about authenticity, like which is the true authentic version of yourself. I think it might depend on who you're with. So I don't know, I've always found something really cool and like liberating about online dating and like talking to a guy on Hinge, because I can kind of play up certain aspects of myself that maybe I wouldn't feel totally comfortable doing with someone in person if we met like at a bar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just fun to play with that, but now, right, there's no like end game. So it's just a weird uncharted territory that I don't think there's a good answer to, because everybody's kind of struggling with it. But I'm getting to the point where I kind of start to feel guilty, because I'm like if this was real life, like we would have gone out on a couple dates by now. Like I really feel that with a couple of these guys. And now I'm like, with taking that out of the equation, it's like, am I becoming the F boy? I fear.
Welcome to the club, Rachel. You're an F boy. It's good to have you.
Kind of fun. It's not, I don't like that it's fun, but it is. I'm just confused by what's happening in my dating life.
Yeah. Well, it's very fascinating. And if I can pause real quick, can I just move upstairs? Because I think I have better connection, and I'm sure I'm super laggy on your side.
It's honestly been okay, but I think this is a good place to pause for part 1 anyway. So maybe we just sign off here quick, and then we'll hit you with part 2 of It's More Than Just a Passion Project coming up next week. Kevin, thank you for joining me for this episode.
It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
I love it. This has been the Her Life BLOGCAST.